Hey there, and how's it going? Welcome back to my channel. I'm glad you stopped by today, and it's been a really strange day because I have tried to record this video several times and they've all sucked, and this one might suck, but it's going to be the last one. That's what I'm going to do. So, if this is your first time visiting, my name's Ryan Desjardins. As you can see by the name of this channel, Ryan Desjardins, VSG'd. So that was a clue as to what my name was. So you can kind of see how it's been strange today, right? You can kind of see, okay. I'm not the only one that's seeing it probably at this point. So I got a vertical sleeve gastrectomy on July 16th of 2020. And so that has been 15 weeks since that surgery. And I have lost a total of 63 pounds. So I am 237 pounds. 2 weeks prior to surgery, I weighed in at 310.5 pounds. And on the day of surgery, I weighed 300 pounds. So since July 2nd, if we look at that sort of the beginning of my pre-surgery diet, I've lost 73.5 pounds since July 2nd. So that would be 17 weeks of weight loss. Pretty darn cool, I have to admit. I have no complaints about how things are going. So speaking of complaints about how things are going, I brought this up in another video, but I kind of want to readdress it here in that sort of the frustration that happens to pretty much everyone that goes through this process. There's frustrations at some point. That may be frustrations with food, either thinking you're not getting enough, eating too much, the restriction isn't enough, they don't feel like the surgery did anything. But I would say most of the issues that come with frustration are usually centered around how rapid someone is losing weight, or if they're not losing weight at all, the stalls. That they're really frustrated about stalls. And so I want to readdress that again today, because I know that there are people that are worried that they're not going to be successful if they have the surgery. And they may have that concern for many different reasons. They may be concerned that it won't work for them because they've tried to diet before and that's never worked. They may be worried that they've been overweight or obese for all their life, maybe due to genetics or illness or medications or a combination of a bunch of things. Maybe they don't think they'll be successful because they know that their eating's been tied up in so much emotional eating in the past, or stress eating, or whatever sort of psychological factors that might be involved in weight gain. So there's many different ways that we overeat and the reasons behind them. And so there's going to be lots of concerns about, is the surgery really going to be successful? Or am I going to fail at this like I failed before? If you're in that group. Because I think no matter how you get obese, I think that there's some guilt associated with it. Like that you made bad choices, you could have done things differently, should have done things sooner, and that kind of thing. And I'll reference the other video here up above so you can check that out, where I kind of talk about that as well. And one of the things I say in that video is, regardless of how you got obese, once we were there, obesity is a disease that affects many systems within our body that make it practically impossible to lose weight. That doesn't mean that you can't lose weight, but it makes it practically impossible. And there are many, many, many what I call unicorns all over social media that have been successful at losing weight. They were really heavy and they were successful without surgery, but it's not as common as it looks like on social media. It just isn't. Most people, once they are in sort of this full disease state of obesity, for whatever reason, are not going to be able to fight against their body's natural defenses to losing weight. And I think that is one of the most important points to know, that our bodies are not designed to lose weight. Our bodies are designed to protect our weight. And it's like 200,000 years of genetics and evolution that have made our bodies that way. And if you think about that for just a tiny, tiny part of our human history on this planet, have we been able to go to the grocery store and get food. And especially not in the abundance and in the amounts that really took off in the 1970s, 80s, 90s, and so on. And it's been spreading around the world. Food has become more abundant in most places around the world, and processed food especially, obviously. And there's a very strong correlation with the abundance of processed food in the diets of in the United States, in the UK, Australia, New Zealand, and many other places that are starting to introduce processed foods more and more. You see a correlation in obesity rates and disease rates and things like that. So it's important to know that this abundance of food is not normal for our biology. And when we try to lose weight, especially if you're obese, this reaction is exacerbated when you're obese. But when you try to lose weight, all of these signals are sent from your body. One of the primary ones is the hormone leptin, which is actually released when you lose weight. And if you release a lot of, I should say, when you burn fat, it's released because it resides in fat cells. When it is released, it is a signal to your brain that your energy stores are reducing, and your brain reacts by making you hungrier and slowing down your metabolism. And there are all other sorts of associations with what you're eating or what you're not eating, and your gut health, your microbiome, and the signals that are being sent regarding satiety, hunger, and pre-surgery. All of these things are fighting against you, right? They're just, and it's not because you're lazy. It's not because you don't want to change. It's not because you don't want to try or have tried. You if you're like me, you've tried a lot of diets over the years, and they all fall kind of in similar patterns. For different lengths, amounts of time, you may have had some good success, but the weight comes back on. Or you break down and you eat some foods that aren't good for you, or know that are fattening, and then kind of it just comes back and you're back into the same habits. And that is not because you have a weak mind. It's not. It's because that's what your biology, that's what your brain is telling you to do. It is sending signals not just to eat more food, but to eat calorie-dense food because it thinks you're starving. And it's trying to defend that weight. It's increasing or decreasing your metabolism, increasing, decreasing your hunger to kind of to maintain that weight. And the system is really worse when you're obese because of how much fat you have to lose. Just continuously sends these signals to your brain to do the exact opposite thing. And eventually it's overwhelming. And even unconsciously, you'll eat more calories. You'll start taking more calories in. You'll be seeking out denser calories, that sort of thing. And a lot. So that, along with a lot of other sort of signals in your body that are there to keep you from losing weight, they're really, really effective at doing that. And it's why we keep going back to where we were. After surgery, we get a little bit of a reprieve from that. And research doesn't really specify or hasn't illuminated exactly why this happens. But after surgery, whether it's VSG or gastric bypass or duodenal switch, any of those, there seems to be sort of a reset in what weight your body thinks it needs to defend. And that reset is usually much, much lower. Where it is going to vary from person to person, but usually it is quite a bit lower, so that when you start losing weight, those signals that used to tell your brain, hey, you have to defend this weight up here, your brain's now saying, well, hey, I can let go because we're way above this defendable weight. And so people tend, they don't get as hungry. You still experience hunger after this surgery, without a doubt. And to varying degrees from person to person, it varies a lot, but it's almost always more manageable than what it was prior to surgery. And we also after surgery, don't seem to be driven to eat calorie-dense foods. A lot of us are more sensitive to sweet. We don't want sweet as much after surgery, so we're not eating much sugar. And our microbiome seems to get a little bit of a reset boost, and then you have an opportunity now to really feed your microbiome and really build a very diverse collection of microbiotics in there to really kind of kick up the level of your health, because the microbiome will definitely do that. And when you realize that the issues of obesity are not conscious choices that you're making all of the time, that it really is your body fighting against you, I think it's a little bit easier to forgive yourself if you do feel guilt. Not everyone's going to feel guilt in the same way or to the same extent, or you may not feel guilty at all. But if you do, I think we have to let that go and focus on building a new relationship with food. We have kind of a time window after surgery where we have these benefits of these hormonal signal changes, changes to our microbiome. We have an opportunity to make good food choices and build new good food habits and eating habits. And the reduced amount of hunger, or I should say the altered hunger. I mean, I don't know if it's so much reduced. For some people, it is really reduced. For some people, I think it's just sort of altered. And it's kind of where I am. I think my hunger has been altered. It's different. I still get plenty hungry in between meals, or if I haven't had anything to eat in a while. But it's different. Not the same as it was pre-surgery. And I feel like I definitely don't turn to sugary, high-calorie foods. I turn to vegetables and things like that. It just feels better to me. And it wasn't really, I can't really say that it was a conscious choice. I mean, I am making a conscious choice to eat more plants. My diet is primarily plant-based now, but and specifically for developing my microbiome. Wide diversity of plants, healthy microbiome, better immunity, better digestion, better metabolism, better hormonal signals, better nutrient breakdown, all kinds of stuff happen with the microbiome. It's amazing, and I know I've talked about having a video on that coming up soon, which I will, but I want it to be good. And every time I tried to make a good video today, it sucked. So I'm not going to go all there today. But I am going to say that post-surgery is the time to build that new relationship with food and build those new habits. And yes, there are going to be stalls. Your body still has mechanisms in place that trigger stalls of weight loss, of fat loss, of adjustments, of all of these things. And those stalls can last a few days, a few weeks, maybe even a few months. I mean, but good things are happening, even if the number on the scale isn't changing. Good things are happening. Your health is getting better. Your body composition is changing. Clothes will be fitting better. I mean, there's just a long list of things that are good things that are happening, even though the scale isn't going down. As long as you are making good food choices, staying hydrated, doing some strength exercises, resistance exercises, don't focus on cardio. A really good way to go is strength training, strength training with sort of high intensity interval training, HIIT, where you get a good cardio workout that's focused on working muscles. And it's very important to work those muscles, because as we lose weight on a low-calorie diet, we are losing muscle mass and we are losing fat mass. And you want to try to keep that muscle loss to fat loss ratio at least 3-to-1 or higher. And that's what I'm working on right now. And so you definitely want to make sure that you're doing that. And quite frankly, cardio exercise, as I've mentioned before, is and all the exercises really are pretty ineffective for weight loss. And that's been proven in several recent studies, that the amount of weight loss due directly to exercise is tiny. The amount of weight loss directly related to what we eat, huge. And that's the important part. I just want to remind you to stick with the plan if you've had surgery. Make good food choices. Build good habits. If you haven't had the surgery, just realize that it can totally be successful for you. It will give you an opportunity to heal. You still have to make good choices. You still have to trust in the post-operative plan that you're going to be following. And you will see many, many benefits from the surgery that you probably won't see if you don't have the surgery. And if you want to give it one more go, if you want to dedicate yourself to exercise and a different food life without the surgery, man, go for it. Go for it. Go for it. You may be successful. I hope you are. But don't feel bad about adding a new weapon to your arsenal with surgery and actually having a much, much better chance at winning the battle with surgery. It is not a bad thing. It is not a cop-out. It is not weakness. It's actually strength. Strength in choosing the right weapon for this battle. That's my take. I think that's all I'm going to talk about today. And even this has been longer than I thought it would be, and I rambled on a lot. I hope you got some value out of today's video. I think that's it. Until next time, take care.